George Sotiropoulos, and you're watching Submissions 101.
This is Ari Bolden, and I'm sitting down with UFC lightweight fighter George Sotiropoulos. Just want to welcome you to the show, George.
Thanks, Ari.
Many of our fans posted questions on our forum for me to ask you, so let's get right to it. A lot of them wanted to know what your traditional Brazilian Jiu Jitsu background was and how you came upon 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu and Eddie Bravo.
Well, I originally trained with Machado affiliates in Australia, so my first trip to the USA was with the Machados in LA. So I initially went to Higgins for a week in I think I was in Torrance, and then I spent the rest of the time, or the rest of that month, at Jacques in Taratema. And that's where I met Eddie, and that was back in 2001. And we were both purple belts at the time. And then I always knew Eddie, he wasn't hard to spot. And, with his win in 2003, he basically gained a lot of momentum, and 10th Planet was growing. And I was well aware of the system and how it was, its effectiveness, and I always paid attention to what Eddie had to say. And then we crossed paths over the years, and I really wanted to train with Eddie. As time was going on, I was following what was going on with the system, and I just didn't have access to him because I was, living in a different part of the world. I was in Australia, I was living in Japan, and when the opportunity came or presented itself in 2008, I made the most of it and went to one of Eddie's seminars, and then went out to LA and spent a week out there to train with him, and that's when I started, that's when I really got to the rubber guard, and I learned it from Eddie, and I've been doing it since. But I really was interested in learning about 10th Planet Jiu Jitsu, several years ago, but I just didn't have access to that training. So, I basically put that goal on hold until I could get access to training with Eddie, and then when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped at it.
You're arguably probably the best player of the 10th Planet system in the UFC. Now, do you feel that the refs are more apt to force a stand-up with you when you're using the rubber guard due to the fact it limits the top man's options? And if so, how does that factor into your grappling game plan?
As long as you're active and you're working toward creating action or making action or forcing the action, there's no reason why the referee will stand it up or interfere with the way the fight is progressing. However, if there was stalling and there was no action taking place, then the referee would be forced to stand up. Now, keeping that in mind, I'm well aware of the stand-ups and stalling that takes place. So basically, I'll always press action and look to initiate action or attack or have some sort of offense. That way, the referee will never interfere with the fight. And I don't want the referee interfering with the position of the fight, because it can change the outcome of the fight. Right. So, as long as there's action, there's no reason why there'll be interference or the position will change. I know a lot of people were laughing at me when I was, working on Eddie stuff.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? It's working for me in the UFC. I've used it in the 3 of my fights so far, and every fight it's getting more effective and getting better. So, a lot of people laughing at now.
How do you think stylistically Kenny Florian's game is, how BJ Penn's game is, and how your game is?
I think BJ Penn definitely is more elite than Kenny Florian. And BJ Penn has some great attributes. He's very flexible. he can put himself in some, he can work from really bad positions. Not taking anyway from Florence. Florence also displayed great jiu-jitsu. He's great. They're both great at working from the back and getting that rear naked choke. But BJ Penn has won the world, and he's a UFC champion. So they're both at a very high level. But I know that my jiu-jitsu and my game stacks up well against both those guys.
BJ Penn has expressed interest in going back to the grappling competition scene once his MMA career is over. Do you have any desire to do so?
I would always like to compete in jiu-jitsu because that's where I started, and I enjoy jiu-jitsu and grappling. But right now, it's too much of a risk for me to compete outside of what I'm doing. Purely just because of the risk of injury and not just that, also it would affect with my training schedule in preparation for my fights. So I really couldn't do it right now.
Okay.
But I actually, just to also add to that question, before I was fighting in the UFC, it was very hard to schedule fights. So to remain active, I would compete in jiu-jitsu and grappling tournaments to remain active and improve my skills by preparing for grappling bouts. But I would also do the same with wrestling and boxing.
Right.
So in between MMA fights, I could be competing in grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing matches at the same time. Basically every other week. Definitely, I think it's a great point.
Is there someone that you would like to see, like if you were to have an Abu Dhabi super fight with someone who's not an MMA fighter but a grappler, who would you like to roll against that you haven't?
Probably Alki. I think that would be a good match.
One of our forum members wanted to know the hardest punch that you've taken and who it was by.
I was training with Kenflo in Australia, and that guy hits pretty hard.
Okay. Have you found any resistance from the traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community because of your inclination of using the 10th Planet system?
Yeah, when I was training in Vegas, I was questioned about what I was doing in the system, and I think there was some sarcasm there with it, but nothing was said directly, and I just continued doing what I was doing.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Realize that you have your website, which is georgesotiropoulos.tv. Is there anything you'd like to add for your fans out there?
Well, the site will be updated in the near future, and I'll be selling some shirts up the site in the near future as well. But I just want to thank a few people. I've got to thank Gabriel, my boxing trainer. He's been a tremendous help to me, and he's the reason why I moved out to Vancouver, Washington. And I've definitely got to thank Eddie Bravo for all his the training and his help and his time. Just working with me in jiu-jitsu, and that's an ongoing work in progress. And I've also got to thank Eric Jaton, who's training me with my wrestling. All those guys, they're all training me to be a better fighter, and they're all going to make me a better fighter, and they already have made me a better fighter, and I really just I can't thank them enough. They're a giant, they're a huge asset to me, and I appreciate all their time and effort and their help. But that's about it.
Take care, my friend.
Thanks for your time, man. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.